So, Fred, maybe you can take this one. If energy is produced in Mexico or Canada and sold in California, can we still get ITC grants for financing?
The answer is no. If the facility is built outside the U.S., then you're not going to get any of these tax benefits because it's outside the U.S.
Even if it's dedicated to the U.S. production?
Tom,
that's right. Yeah, the only, maybe Puerto Rico you can, but that's part because it's U.S. possession. But other than that, yeah.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Oh, we're building a project in Mexico, in Baja, and one of the options we're exploring is selling power back into the United States, which would give us a nice long-term 20-year contract with a credit-worthy entity in U.S. dollars. That's the advantage. The disadvantage of being a Mexico project is you can't claim any of the federal U.S. Tax benefits and incentives because you need to be within the borders of the United States. Although, having said that, Baja California and offshore wind, I sort of almost argue that you can make the claim that we are well within the border, 6 miles offshore, which is a lot more technically and financially feasible than building offshore. But,
so I'm going to,
in
if you've got a question,
you have
right
another
there.
problem. Now you can use the Exim Bank. They have some nice favorable financing capabilities, much better.
So you want to
than
repeat that?
here.
Just for the rest.
I mean, Exim Bank, sure, you can use that, but you still have the 30% shortfall.
Yeah, you don't have that, but you have
which
all
is
of that.
huge. Which is huge.
And you have another problem in California. You may not even qualify for the RPS if you're outside of California.
Our project will. It's technical, but for instance, your first point of interconnection needs to be on the California side, which requires, in our case, be cut, and then that's where distance plays a role. A 6-mile transmission line across a international border, which requires it's called a presidential permit. It doesn't need signed by the president, but it's bureaucracy. It's another layer. But it's tough, and losing that 30%, again, without sort of this feed-in tariff, is death. And so it's going to be a difficult project. We have a good wind resource, and Mexico's got some tax depreciation benefits. But again, you have to match certain now smaller set of investors with that project.
just real quickly, to quantify the project pipeline, I believe the last time I looked, there was like 7 gigawatts of renewable energy projects under contract to the investor-owned utilities in California, and about 200 to 300 megawatts have been actually built. So it's a really huge gap, and it comes down to the numbers. It comes down, how much does it cost to build, and what revenues can be generated to support that?
I would like to make a comment on that one and the previous question. Where we see the most projects fall out is in the interconnection and then the PPA. Okay? Interconnection is a tricky thing here in California because you have to go through generator interconnection procedures, JIP, with CAISO. And to make a long story short, you make an application to the CAISO, to the California Independent System Operator. You have to pay up $50,000 plus $1,000 per megawatt you want to connect. They go through phase 1 report, and then after the phase 1 report, you have to put up the real money, and that is up to $7.5 million in deposit. And that's where the serious developers who have all the ducks in the row are being divided from or separated from the developers who want to try it, who wanted to try it. Now we have right now in the current CAISO application window, we have 200 projects with 36 gigawatt, of which 34 gigawatt are renewable energy projects. Okay? Of these 200 projects, I would be astonished if 50 projects are going to be, let's say 80 projects are going to go forward. In the last window, we had 108 projects, and of the 108 projects, I think 15 projects went through because everybody else went sideways because they didn't want to pay the deposit, and that's where the problem is.
So I'm going to take the last question myself. It is, and you heard presidential permitting. Is the Cleantech area likely to be part of the upcoming presidential election in 2012? And the answer is yes, it is. So from that, I'd like to thank our panelists. They've been terrific. And special thanks to Sue and the team from K&L Gates. Thank you for sponsoring this morning. Thank you all for coming. We'll see you at the next one.
All right.